Hello everyone, my name is Arglin and welcome back to another Polybridge 2 video. Today we'll be taking a nice break from our over-engineering stuff because just a few weeks ago I had received an invite to partake in a special event called the Polylympics. The Polylympics was an event where a bunch of Polybridge creators go head-in-head at a multitude of different games. The competition was held by Real Civil Engineer, and the levels were made by my good friends, Palfley and Mason. So let's take a field trip and visit some of these events. Now, unfortunately, I didn't really plan out many of my recording sessions that well, so they were recorded in some quite random settings, and I'll have to mute the audio sadly. It's not exactly great anyways.
Yeah, just talking.
Darky and I were voicing the video novel for fun just earlier.
Yeah!
I'll still do some commentary over each event because I want to actually explain what I'm doing at least. So the first event that I'll be covering is the shot put event. The time limit for this was 20 minutes. The objective for this is to launch a boulder as far as you can using the given materials that you have. Rules were that the distance is scored by how far the boulder has traveled once it hits the ground, and if it hits the wall first, then its vertical height will be counted instead. If it goes above the bus, then it will be counted when it hits the physics border. And if you're using a weight, then your maximum weight budget is 12,500. So the first thing that I decided to do was completely ignore the use of a weight in this case, and I went straight for springs because they were unlimited materials. So I just went ahead and started by placing springs underneath in a compressive force, so then I could push it. I also decided to use some pulling ones just as well, just so it could add just a little bit more oomph. Now the problem with this was that the springs had to be connected to cables, and all those cables had to be connected to a certain point. So I couldn't stack that many before I actually ran into the 32 connection limit for a single node. So I decided to switch over to pulling around. And in this case, I was able to pull it much harder, to the point where I actually beat the hydraulic phase and I couldn't actually get the boulder to detach from the cable in time. So I quickly cut the whole thing, I pasted it in again, and then I just scrambled together some supports and hoped that it actually would hold itself up. And then I made the arm a little bit longer, so it actually take more time to fling. And as you can see, that was a lot more effective. I then made the arm just a little bit shorter, so then it would go farther instead of going higher. And apparently I got the projectile to going so fast, it slammed into the ceiling. Something tells me I might have slightly overdone this. But regardless, I just continued on and just played around with the length until I got a better angle. And while I was trying to get that better angle, I accidentally got this.
Yeah, talking, just talking.
We were voicing, Darky and I were voicing the visual novel just for fun, just earlier.
Yeah! What the heck? Why suddenly you louding? Why suddenly louding like that?
Darky, if you're watching this right now, I'm very sorry about what happened earlier. Forgive my yelling. Anyways, for the final few minutes, I just tweaked it, and then eventually, with about 20 seconds left to spare, I got my final result. And here are all of our submissions put together. So here are the distances. Bolt got 182.25 meters, Scott got 314.5 meters, RC 328.69 meters, Aliens Rock 399.64 meters, Arglin 401.73, and finally Reid Captain at 472.98. So the next event I'll be covering is the high jump event. The goal of this game is to try to get the dune buggy as high as you can into the air to collect as many flags as possible. Time limit is 10 minutes. Now, for the most part, this was just me tweaking a really smooth ramp, and it's just not really that interesting, to be honest, after a while. So I'm just gonna skip straight to the end right now. And here are the results. In ascending order, Bolt 41 flags, RC 42 flags, Scott Free 45 flags, Aliens Rock 46 flags, Reid Captain 48 flags, and finally Arglin with 50 flags. Now there's a bit of a bonus that I have for this one, but we'll cover it in the next video. So the next event that we're going to be covering is the hurdle run event. Rules are to try to get to the end as fast as possible, and try not to tip the hurdles because that gives you a time penalty of 3 seconds. You have unlimited budget and unlimited materials other than hydraulics. Time limit is 20 minutes. So I did some experimenting first, and I got a pretty forward-going launch after pretty much my second tweak on the first jump. After that, I just made some rigid design setups for the other jumps, which were just 2 springs and 2 pieces of steel. And it's pretty powerful, though it just kind of lands face first. So after about a minute, I pretty much got my first solve. And now I just had to lower the height so that I could get more time onto the ground. But then while I was kind of doing all of that, I was kind of thinking about the first launch, and I went, what if we could actually try to optimize not only going over it, but also trying to push it forwards in the meanwhile. So the first design that I created was a kind of like scoop, so then the dune buggy kind of just grinds down it rather than do a front flip. But then I thought, you know, we have all but hydraulics as buildable materials, and we have an unlimited budget. So what if we just connect cables under the ground? And oh boy, it really gives a good flick. Basically what it was doing was that it would be forcing the right side up, so it would go over the hurdle, and then the left side would kind of lag behind, so then it would kind of catapult it forwards. So then I just did this for the lower ones, and after a while, I finally got this. So here are the final results. Reid Captain at 16.452 seconds, RCE at 16.304, Scott Free at 16.044, Bolt at 15.616, Aliens Rock at 14.750, and finally Arglin at 14.132 seconds. And the final event that I will be covering for today is the weightlifting event. The rules are you have to get a limo back and forth as many times as you can, each time having a little bit more weight dropped on top of the limo. You have to complete the bridge within a specific budget, which is specified in the level, and your time limit is 20 minutes. So the first design that I decided to go to, which is really the only design that I actually went with in this case, because 20 minutes, you can't really redesign it that much, is sort of a hybrid between under supports and over supports. The under supports are towards the edges, and then the over support is towards the middle. And it's kind of meh, so I just need to reinforce a lot of stuff. And after just a little bit of reinforcing, I managed to get it to 2 weights, which is alright. So I just kept reinforcing it, and I eventually started using double muscles. By the way, just a tip for people who are playing Polybridge, either normally or over engineering, this type of muscle orientation is one of the strongest double muscles I've found, at least. There are stronger muscles out there, but they require so much more to actually get working, and this in itself is already incredibly strong. You can also create wood ropes, which is kinda a weird thing to think about, but it is technically a little bit stronger, where you basically take bits of wood and you kind of just layer multiple chains on top of each other, and it just worked. So then I managed to get it to 5 weights. And then 6 weights. And then 7 weights. And then 8 weights. And then I kind of just stagnated there. I couldn't really get any much further, so I pretty much had the final result of 8 weights. So here are the final results. RC with 4 weights, Bolt with 6 weights and 0.6 polygrams added on top. Aliens Rock with 6 weights plus 3.7 polygrams added on top. Reid Captain 7 weights, Arglin 8 weights, and finally Scott Free with 9 weights. So as a full recap of all the total points won across all events, RC with 8 points, Bolt with 8 points, Scott Free with 14 points, Reid with 16 points, Aliens Rock with 16 points, and finally Arglin with 22 points. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll be hopefully coming back in 4 years' time. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like. And if you would like to see more content like this in 4 years' time, I guess, feel free to subscribe. But anyways, I'm Arglin, your local Durgle Poly engineer, and have a wonderful day. Much love. Bye bye.